Guys, there's many new things coming to 2022. I've had a rebrand. As you can see, I haven't actually had a rebrand yet. I'm waiting for my new jumpers for the rebrand. And what in essence has happened is I pulled myself away from the car scene because I want to become a YouTuber properly. You know, I'm not a very good YouTuber. It's probably not going to go anywhere fairly far, but I've got a few viewers that enjoy watching the videos I make. So in essence, I'll apply my video content and my personality to a wider range of subjects. And in order to do that and to have the time, along with working full time, in order to fulfill that I need to do, I've had to put the car events and so forth behind me. So I'll still be attending. I'll be attending certain meets, and as the year progresses, I'll be spending most of my time attending proper events. So, for example, next month I'm going to a Toyota specific event, and I'm going to relay all of that through to you guys. I'm going to be going to Coombe, and I've got I'm going to be doing 3 meets this month, 1 private, 2 public. So we still have car meets and car events going on, but the other part of this YouTube adventure is we've got a few new avenues. So we're going to have the car reviews, car events, and everything car related, project car as well. That's one segment. Another segment is going to be a food segment that I'm going to start probably next week. That's going to be a variety of things, from reviewing restaurants to food challenges to anything food really, making food and all sorts. So for those that like food, enjoy food, it's going to be a nice little avenue within the page for you guys to jump onto and enjoy that as well. Another part, if you haven't already seen, is professional content for businesses and companies. My new page, Limitless Media, I want to use to help companies grow. So I'm going to be making a lot of promotional videos and doing product information and so forth for companies, products, vehicles, whatever that is. There's a professional side to it as well. As we move swiftly on, we have some other avenues as well. So the urban exploring, you guys have been really enjoying. I've taken people with me. I will continue doing those, and we'll have a lot more content urban exploring wise coming along as well. And then I guess the final segment, I would say, or 2 segments for the YouTube, is the first one, and that is pranks, mishaps, jokes, banter, all that lot. So me and friends, as well as just myself, have got a lot of very silly things planned. We're going to start to do some pranks, some very crazy, slightly interesting things out in public, just for the YouTube, for the laughs. So you're going to start to see, as the time progresses, as we move into the summer as well, a lot more pranking of the public and fun times with that. Finally, I am hating how I have turned physically in the past 3 or 4 years during uni and many other things. So I'm making a stand on that. I'm going to be starting a fitness portfolio for people to follow to. Nothing really essential. I'm going to make sure that it's action-packed, with good advice for those that are looking to get a little bit more fit, for those that are looking to lose a little bit of weight, and for those that are training towards a specific goal. So I've got experience in the fitness world, and you know, I will be reading up about this to make sure the information I'm giving is valuable and is legitimate for what is needed for those that want to train. So the last segment for that you're going to see is my fitness progression. So I've started this month just doing some walking, getting my body moving. I've gone from doing nothing to walking, and I can progress that into running and into some fitness exercise videos, so you can see how my weight loss goes. It's just something for people to follow, and again, another way to bring people onto the page for something a little bit different other than cars and vehicles. So guys, how's it going? I want to wish you a incredible, very happy new year. I hope it's been very good for you so far. So this is my first video of 2022. It feels really odd. I've already made a bad mistake. I'm on grass, which I really shouldn't have done. Probably going to slip over, and I'm kind of regretting making that decision already, but we're here and now, and what we're doing today is discussing about my 2008 Jaguar XF. This is a now 14-year-old car, depending on when it was made in the year, so 13, 14 years old. By far it isn't perfect, but for what I paid for it and for what it is, it's a super car. So what I'm going to do for you guys today is I'm going to do a roughly 3 to 4 week review of the car, and I'm going to tell you why you should get yourself a Jaguar XF. Jaguar XF, there are a variety of variants. So this is a pre-facelift. You can tell with these by the front end. The back end is a little bit more indistinguishable, but there are subtle differences. This is a facelift. This is what they call the X250 variant, and this one here is a rare one. It's an interesting one. I'm talking about the engine. So There's a variety of power plants starting from 3 litres up to 5 for the Jag, and this one is a rare variant. This one uses an engine from the previous platform. So this is a 3 litre naturally aspirated V6 with approximately, I see slightly variant amounts of power feedback through different people, but approximately 230 to 245 bhp. Now this car, I'm going to run through with you and tell you why it is cool, and I'm also going to suggest you guys look at one of these potentially if you're in the market for one. One here is a premium luxury edition. There are a variety of variants in the Jaguar branding, and they go as follows. I may not be 100% correct, but I'm learning as we go with the Jaguar. So you have the luxury, premium luxury, and then you have the S models, and you can also have the portfolio in either an XF, as far as I'm aware, an XFS, or an XFR. So the portfolio is the highest spec you can get, and normally is more personalised than say this one. So I'm going to run through with you the spec on this vehicle, and tell you where I know possible some of the spec that this car doesn't have versus other models, and we're going to get to the nitty-gritty inside and out as to why this Jag is really awesome. So the XFs, you'll see them for as cheap as about £3 grand, and that will be for a high mileage diesel. The petrols hold their value super well, and actually if you look on Auto Trader, the 3 litre NA petrol is actually in its smallest form. There's not a lot of these available. I did a quick look on Auto Trader and there was over 300 diesels available with only about 10 to 15 petrol 3 litres available. So it's a rare variant to find, and that's what keeps the value high on these. So if you're lucky, you can find yourself one like I did for super cheap, but a lot of these are sitting at least £5 or up. So this one here has done 71,000 miles and I got it for a steal. Now I'm going to let you hold that for a minute. Guess what I got this for? So it's got a full service history, 71,000 miles when I bought it, just under in fact, and it is a 2008 in the condition that you can see here. So what do you reckon I paid? Now I've done a valuation on this and I've looked at a variety of pages, websites and so forth to get a price. Now I would value this between £6 and £7 with a few subtle modifications that I've done, and I'm going to continue to add to this. But realistically, We Buy Any Car and so forth like that value this car around 5.5, which I think is a fair price. I think this car is worth more because of the mileage and because of the condition of the car and the rarity factor of it. So I would value this between 6 and 7, especially with some of the modifications that I'm going to add and have already. So you're still guessing. I paid for this car £3,600, and you're thinking, whoa, what's wrong with that? I'll tell you what, very little indeed. I got it for a steal, and I'm very lucky to have come across the car because it is an absolute peach. It is a gorgeous car to drive, and it has little wrong with it, if anything at all. There's the key. If you just look at the key itself, this vehicle speaks of a premium vehicle from the get-go, obviously with my signature Jaguar keyring on the keys. So for starters, you've got a lot of spec on these, and the key itself just shows you that the vehicle that you've got here is a step up from your everyday vehicle. So this would be an alternative, in my opinion, to a 3 Series, to an Audi A4, I would say, with the size, and your equivalents like your Vauxhall Insignia, Toyota, you know, Avensis, all of your kind of flagship front/rear-wheel drive executive saloons. So I'm going to walk around the car very quickly and just show you some of the elements of the vehicle that I like, and then we'll get in and I'll talk more about the interior and the inside as we go. Just 2 more things I wanted to mention before we jump in the car and have a look around. This Jaguar is practically pretty much stock. All I've done is de-chrome and the rear exhaust, so you will hear the rear exhaust, and today we're focusing on primarily talking about the car in its stock form, which it isn't really far off, to be fair. So just so you can see, this is the last part of the chrome on the car, and that is due to go tomorrow. So that is the last part of chrome gone. and the exhaust is a back box delete with a twin double exit on the back, which sounds very fruity. So we're going to focus today on the car itself, but I'm still going to show you how awesome this car sounds with that back box delete as well, because do you know what, like I said, I've looked online, I've looked everywhere I can find, and there is no content on this 3-litre petrol variant because it is very uncommon. It's not an engine that people went for in the petrols. They either go for the 3-litre diesels, 2.7 diesel, the 2.4 diesel, 4-pot, or they jump up to the supercharged variant of this, or the larger V8 engines that come in the more faster performance orientated models. So let's get on walking around and then get inside this car and see what it's like. Which looks incredible. I'm now going to try not to slip over this. There is the back end. So what this car is lacking is obviously the S and the sports models, and the models above that all have the rear diffuser. Mine just has the stock rear diffuser, and I think some of the other variants only have a single exit for some of the diesels as well. So I do have the kind of twin exit, which looks really good with the quad tips. Obviously the D-chromes on the back with the badge and the rear bolster. But there we go. Super good looking car. A big thank you once again to the awesome guy Nick. Shogun Customs did the tints on the back for me and did the D-chrome around the windows, on the rear and on the front, which looks really good. And we'll bring you back round to this. So I think also the pre-facelift is quite rare itself as well, because the pre-facelift only ran for a few years before facelift came in, and facelift was predominantly purchased more. So it's quite rare to see a pre-facelift going around. I very recently painted the front grille, which I think, in my opinion, was one of the best things I've done. Some people prefer the chrome. Everyone has their own opinions on it, but as the car looks, I think even without the modifications, it is a good looking car. I will admit, in my opinion, the facelift variant is better looking on the front, in my opinion. On the rear, there's not too much between them to distinguish them. But there we go. It is I think, a beautiful car, especially from this angle here. It is a gorgeous car, and I'm going to add some more modifications to this vehicle just to boost the looks of an already good looking car. So these vehicles are a step up over your, your BMW and your other variants of rear-wheel drive sedans. So I can't speak for what is exactly stock specification on the lowest models, but to be honest with you, I'm sure it's still very good. And I'm going to talk about the specs on this now. Believe it or not, this isn't top spec either. This is probably, I think the premium luxury sits roughly in the middle. It's got a lot of spec for what it is, actually, to be fair. And again, you've got to bear in mind this is a 2008 year vehicle, so it's not very new. But we'll talk about the things that I guess aren't in the car. So this premium luxury has rear and front parking sensors, which isn't too big, but it's helpful. They aren't annoying, and they work very effectively. And you know what, everything works on this car as well, which is what I love so much about it. So front and rear parking sensors, we have got heated folding mirrors, we've got keyless entry. You can see the little black dots probably very vaguely on the side of the car there, which I do enjoy really well. It's just a really simple jump in, jump out, no playing around with keys. And I think that is about it for the exterior of the car in relation to spec. So I'll show you what the key does as well. While we're at it, we might as well. Not a lot, but there's a few functions that are cool. So you can do your global windows. So if I hold this down, a lot of cars do this anyway, but I'm just showing you. There the windows go. And then if I again hold it down, mirrors go in inlet, and windows up. So pretty normal for most cars, as we all know. What else have we got? We've also got on the key, we've got a boot release, we have got the headlight control, which I think is quite cool, and we've also got an alarm which you can hold down and it will set the alarm off. Now if I forget when my car is in a car park, I will use this all the time to do it. I will demonstrate it now because we're in the middle of nowhere, but we'll do it now, so it takes a little while. And just hold it down, set it back off. Like that. Then we've got the headlight function. See it there. It's a great one when you're at car meets and things like that. when people are stood near your car, you can play around with that and people think there's someone in the car when there isn't. So it's a cool little feature. But let's get on inside the Jag and talk about what it's like to drive and what the interior is like while it's dark. So I do apologise, it is getting quite dark and it is quite stingy this time of year, but this is now perfect because you're going to get to see how beautiful this interior is with the blue backlight it's got for the interior in there. So let's get on in. So what we're actually going to do first is we're going to look in the back. We'll get the back done first. So as you can see, keyless entry opens up, mirrors opening, lovely. We've got puddle lights on the doors, which I must admit need to go LED, as do a lot of the lights in here. But we'll go inside. So this one comes with the Kindle pack, as I've mentioned before. So it comes with the kindling. If you ever get stuck in the winter and you want to make a fire, come and find me. I can lend you a bit of my wood out of there. Yes, I know it's not real wood, I'm just taking the piss. But do you know what? It's old school, you know, mid 2000s, and do you know what? I like it, believe it or not. But that's just probably because I'm getting or feeling very old. So yeah, really nice leather on the doors, really nice style. I love the kind of metal trim, chrome trim along there. I actually think that looks really good, even with chrome being as disgusting as I think it is. And the door card's got ample space in there. And there, everything's just got a nice finish to it. This obviously will glow up blue when it's dark. And then we've got the interior, which is immaculate. And I'm not even joking. This is an immaculate interior. Absolutely incredible, considering it is 13 years old. Now, it has got the cup holders in the armrest, if I can get that down. Wabang. There we go. And actually, when it's sat in here, the seating position is super, super comfortable. And do you know what? It's spacious. We've sat Jordan from Viking Views in the back of here. Now, he's not a short guy. Dan, on the other hand, a bit like me, is lacking. Love you, Dan. But Jordan fit in here in comfort, and those boys were in here for hours, and it was a comfortable evening. So it's a nice place to be in the back of here. Also got on the centre here, we've got twin heaters / coolers. And we are missing what would come with other spec, the rear cigarette lighter output there. I don't know whether that's a facelift thing or whether that's just a spec thing, but I don't have that on mine. So some little nets in the back to hold bits, and it's a nice place to be. And we've got coat hooks on here as well, as we can see in the back with the tinted windows. So the rear is a lovely place to be, and there's ample room. So if you're looking for a car that carries people comfortably as a big cruiser or a family car, this is an awesome car. Just to mention as well, in here we've got the Isofix as well, which is hidden in here. So you have got Isofix for the kids' seats, so it's really good. Another thing to mention, a lot of people mention these when looking at cars, is this door's got a really good angle on the rear. So some cars are quite limited, and when you're trying to put a seat in, there's no space. So I don't really have a car seat, unfortunately. If I did, I'd show you. But as you can see, the door comes out a good amount of distance, and there's plenty of access into the back of the vehicle. And as we can see with the door shuts and so forth, obviously the car's a little bit dirty. It's a clean car. So, you know, this is done super well for the age. And if this is a good reflection of how other X250s are, then, you know, they're a decent car. What I love about it as well is everything in the vehicle is premium quality, premium touch, and is built really well. And you'll find in here there's no rattles and no issues. I want to get some LED bulbs in there, but that is the back of the car. It is super, super excellent. So if you want to carry around 4 or 5 people in comfort with big, ubious amount of boot space, then this is the car for you. Not very good open there. So again, in the front here we have the continuation with the wooden trim, and you'll see this in the car as well. But it's a nice place to be here in the front. So this is obviously a non-sport model, so it doesn't have the sporty seats, it has the stock seats, which in essence are similar comfort levels. They just don't have the bolstery, more supportive feel that the S seats do. I think the S seats have also got a few more adjustments here on the electric panel. They've got something to do with the they've got another one here, I think, which is for your legs. Don't quote me on that, but this doesn't have all the adjustments, but it's more than enough for what the car is. Again, with the build quality, look, you've got an additional seal around the side of the door here, so you don't get any dirt or very little inside. All the seals around here are beautiful. Do you know, like I said, for a 13-year-old car, this is such a super car. It's really, really good. So to mention some specs while we're here, down here we've got the controls for the driver's seat memory, which does integrate the electric steering wheel adjustment with that as well. So every time you get in and out of the car, the steering wheel will rise if you have it set on automatic, which I've got, which I'll show you, which is a cool feature. And it just means that basically you can get in and out with easy access, and whatever position it's put into, you're always back in the same one. So when you get in, you can also see the little Jaguar emblem comes up on the screen, and we're going to get inside now and talk more about the interior on the Jag. Here we go. Alright then, so welcome inside. Now the first thing you don't notice with the Jag, you're going to notice it on the video, is now I'm sat inside here, how suddenly quiet it's become from the outside. So we had the road and the background noise from the dual carriageway just over there, and now I'm sat inside here. It's still there, but it's very, very quiet. I can't hear a lot at all. So another thing I like about this car is how incredibly good the soundproofing is and the build quality of the car. There's no rattles. The soundproofing is super good. The vehicle stays really warm as well. You can just tell that from the factory a lot of money was put into the design and the build on this vehicle for what is in the day, I guess, a lower end premium vehicle. There's other variants that Jag do that were even more luxurious, but for your everyday 3 Series and Audi competitor, it is a very, very underlooked car. Like really, really, really underlooked. I wouldn't say it's overlooked. What I mean by underlooked is it's a competitor there, but no one really gives it a chance. Everyone just kind of looks over to the other variants for whatever reason that is. But underlooked is what I mean is in essence people know it's there, but they don't even give it a chance. And when you've actually got into one and driven one, you realise they actually are really special, and they've got something really good going on about them. So we're sat in here now, and I'm going to show you around the interior. There's also 2 gremlins I have with the Jag. Out of the entire vehicle, they're both in the interior, there's 2 gremlins which I'm going to show you. One of which is quite a common issue. Again, it's really not an issue, but it's a common issue, and I'm going to show you those just as part of the video so you can see what to expect for a 13, 14-year-old XF. So here we are. This is about chest level with me in the Jag. I sit down really low. I've got a really comfortable position. So this is obviously an automatic. I probably didn't mention it in the video, but I think all the Jags are automatic in this platform. This is the ZF6 gearbox, not the 8 in the facelift, which means the common difference is 6 versus 8 gears. And I expect the newer box is probably a little bit smoother, a little bit more efficient, who really knows. But anyway, this is the 6-speed box, and do you know what? It's a really, really good box. So if you focus where my hand is down here, and watch this, a lot's going to happen. The steering wheel's going to adjust, because you're probably looking at that thing as, how the hell do you drive with the steering wheel over the dials? So let's get this going. So as you see here, we've got the start and stop button. So you'll press it once for your ignition, or you'll hold it down. So let's tap the ignition on and see what happens then. So just watch down here. Well, lots of things happen actually. So watch down here, and I'm going to show you the 3 things that burst into life when we start it up. So let's get onto here. Ready? Watch my hand. There we go. Steering wheel adjusting down. There we go. You're like, nothing happened here. Now that's on the ignition, but you're going to watch this in a minute. So the dials have raised. Here's the number 1 issue. Ready? So the driver's side doesn't go. Now, I've researched online, and it's literally going to cost me about £10 to sort this out. Basically, the cog in this is warm. In essence, what it does is this will close the vent, but it won't open it. So I've just got to open it manually at the minute, which isn't a faff at all. So when this all closes down, when you switch it off, this does close but doesn't open. So I will be doing a video on this, taking this apart, so you guys have got a video of how to do it. There is one on there, but I'm going to make one again, and I'm going to run through with you guys how to change this. So you'll find a lot of drivers will have this common issue at this age with this vent that doesn't either open, close, or do both. But it can be done manually, so don't worry about it. And this can happen for any of the vents in the vehicle, but mine does it, so that's going to be a video. But here we are. Look at this gorgeous, gorgeous dial. It is absolutely beautiful. It is really super nice. It really is. Just clear that warning message off there a minute. There we go. I've got no error messages or anything on the vehicle anyway, you'll see that in a moment. But yeah, it's got no management lights, no running issues, and let's run through. You can see it's got the beautiful blue accent, it's like a light blue around the dials, it looks super, super good. We've obviously got the automatic switchboard here, you've got your manual controls, and you've got your screen. The heated seats, as all you Jag owners will know, are literally incredible. The best heated seats I've ever seen. So this system, I can tell you straight away, I am missing the heated seat option. There's a heated seat, heated steering wheel option that sits right in the middle of there. So I'm missing the heated steering wheel. And there's other spec that I'm missing as well, but there's too much to name. So you've got the nice sat nav. It's got connection to your phone, but hasn't got Bluetooth. But I think in the facelift version it has Bluetooth for audio. So I've got to use an adapter, which I run from here. But you can see, glorious cobble. I've got a Bluetooth unit in there, which I just connect to with the aux into there. It's got lovely touch opening up units that look really good. Again, you know, it's bathed in this glorious fake wood, which, do you know what, like I said, it gives it character, and I like. So as you can see, throughout the car itself, the wood continues over. This is a really nice cockpit. I'm putting force into there and there's just nothing moving. I've got a little bit of a squeak of my arm on there, but it's, you know, it's a quality cockpit, and you've got 3 cup holders. So what more do you want with your life with 3 cup holders in there? There we go. Even tells you when your battery's low. So we're going to start it up in a minute, and I'm going to show you what happens with the center display. So this, as far as I'm aware, the vents are on all of the XFs regardless of model. There's just a few differences between some of the models throughout the range in relation to spec. So the blue obviously runs right onto the controller. You can see it's just a really nice lit blue. It's just a really nice interior. So let's just look at this last moment. There we go. To enjoy the interior. The glorious Jag emblem in the middle there. Also got the puddle lighting, which goes up here, which helps then to shine down onto here. Can't see it too much, it isn't too dark yet, but that works. I love it. It's even got touch sensitive buttons, which is freaking awesome. So obviously this one also comes with a dimming center mirror, which could be standard on the mirrors themselves. They're dimming on the sides as well. They've got like a tint over them, so it is a really nice built car. Now the sound system as well, this isn't the upgraded one, which I think is Bauer & Wilkins, I think. This is the stock one, and it sounds incredible. It has got a sub in the boot as well. Whether that's a premium luxury option over the lesser model, I don't know, but there is a sub in the boot as well. If we go onto here, you'll be able to see it. There we go. If we go on here, there's an option for the sub, which is, where is it, at the bottom. Also, this car has a valet mode, which is quite cool as well. So if anyone else drives your car, you can stick it in valet mode, and there's restrictions on that, which is cool. So let's go ahead and start it up. So you put your foot on the pedal with this, with the start button, and let's watch the magic happen. Here we go, ready? Obviously your Jag XF 3-litre petrol isn't going to sound like mine, because mine has got the aftermarket exhaust on there. But as we can see, the shifter's risen and ready to go for a spin. So I haven't got my chest piece, I do apologise, so I'm going to have the camera facing me on this one. But we're going to go out for a little spin now as it's getting dark. You might not see a lot of me now because it's dark, but I'm going to tell you what it is like to drive. So let's get shifting through the gearbox. So this gearbox is super smooth, so couldn't even hear a thing when I've switched between there into drive. Definitely get stuck on the grass on here. There we go. That's my car scraping on the grass, that was. This is a rough road up here. Auto lock-in. And as you can probably hear, you can hear the engine growling. But there's no noises, no knocks, no bangings. It's quiet. And it is super smooth. Suspension is very comfortable. I would say it's fairly firm, but it's still more comfortable than your competitive BMW or Mercedes. It's double wishbone as well, which helps with dampening out those knocks, those bumps, and makes it super smooth to drive. So it's literally awesome. Such an amazing car to drive. So we're going to get out on the road and I'll give you guys some feedback on that as well. So this gearbox has got a normal mode I'm in now. It sounds beautiful. Now obviously you won't get this noise in the cabin from the exhaust from factory, but this engine is really zesty and makes a really nice noise, especially when you're up in the revs with the variable valve timing. So it's super smooth, and when that engine has got into the gear at once and the revs at once, it is very quiet. So it just makes the driving experience a pleasure. It's comfortable, it's quiet, even with the exhaust. The interior soundproofing helps with that exhaust to make it quieter in the car anyway, and it is super zesty. The engine itself is not very good on fuel, as you would imagine. I haven't actually got 30 mpg out of this car yet, so you are really sitting between 20 and 30 mpg, which I think is fairly respectable for a heavy 6-cylinder petrol without a turbo. So in my general opinion, I never use the manual option on the gearbox unless I'm going for an overtake. I will always just use the gearbox as it is. This car, the way you drive, it doesn't make you want to race, doesn't want to make you go fast, but I use the manual gearbox shift. So let's put it into here now. Hold on. There you go, so you can give it a listen now, ready? It sounds awesome. So you can hear the engine going on the manual. Switches up really nice. There we go. As simple as that. It pulls okay. It's not a fast car. You're not going to buy this variant of this car to go anywhere fast. And as we can see now, as we're rolling, it's really quiet. Really quiet. In the loop I used to have to shout. In this I'm talking to you normally, and it is really quiet. So in essence, I would say this variant of the XF is one of the best for an everyday driver. That is because it's ULEZ free, so you've got no charges, which is what you get with the diesels. It's got a suitable amount of power, enough to be able to get you around and to overtake if needed, which again all of them have, but it's enough. And at the same time, it sounds really good. Just want to add to that backup for this being one of the best XF variants there are. This is also a very reliable engine. Very reliable engine. So you're not going to find yourself having too many issues with this as long as you give it general maintenance. I see 46 going past. So yeah, if you keep it good with the general maintenance, this engine will go on. I've seen these go on for 200,000 miles or more. They are a super reliable engine. So I reckon you should definitely look at one of these next time you're looking for a medium-sized sedan. So you're on the road now, going 50, which has got a hill on it, and you know you can barely hear the engine working as soon as you put your foot down. See the difference? Foot on. Yeah. Now the dynamic mode is very unresponsive. It is very flamboyant, but it's built for comfort. Now the sports mode is a lot better. So you obviously can see already on the delay of this. Ready? When I do this, ready? It takes half a day. You put it in sports mode, you should find. Not only does it rev up quicker, it puts you in a better gearing in whatever gear it thinks is right for the speed you're going. So it's great for driving around town and for long journeys. So finally, you've got the refinement and you've got that comfortable drive, a reliable engine. What more do you want? The handling. So the handling is actually really good. I'm still on stock suspension at the moment. With that, I have got wider tyres on the back, which does help with the grip, but I'm on stock suspension, and this car does drive really well. It's got that fine balance between performance and comfortability. It is a very, very well designed car. I will say, actually, out of all the rear wheel drive vehicles I've driven, actually the handling on stock is very well balanced, but it does handle pretty well. And I'm excited to add the IBAC lowering springs to the car this month to see what difference that makes, and again I'll do an install video for that. But as we speak about the car itself, the handling is actually very good, and you know, with that in total within a package, you've got a very decent, reliable, good looking, different car that's going to stand out in the car park compared to your other rivals like your common BMWs and your common Audis. So next time you're looking at getting a car, I would highly recommend looking at the Jaguar XF, not just in this variant, but in whatever variant is applicable to you. But I would definitely recommend this 3 litre because it is a peach of a... There we go, we've now stopped, so you'll now see the steering wheel jumping back up to its original position. So let's turn everything off. Vents down, knob down. And this actually doesn't, in fact, raise until you open the door. So I'm going to open the door now. Out the way it goes. So there's many things I want to mention about the car, and I forgot to mention one thing again, which might be a factory fitted option for all, but this does have a rear and a front heated screen, which is fairly normal nowadays, but it's a nice feature this time of year. It clears that screen off in about a minute, so I'm no longer a little peasant scraping away the ice on the front of my window. So there's a lot of other options, you know, AC, cruise control, sat nav, there's loads. But I'm hoping you've enjoyed the run through of the Jaguar XF. So that marks the end of the video about my peachy Jag. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about my Jag and what it has to offer as a car. And I hope in future you will try yourself to find your own too. So I'll see you with more Jag videos soon.